Prince Harry claims he did not leak the Royal Reconciliation Secret Summit. Prince Harry is said to be fuming after details of a peace summit were revealed to the Daily Mail. He's also denying that anyone from his camp was behind the leak. I know you saw, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw me debating whether or not Harry and Meghan leaked this news. I have some other theories. We'll get into those. But it's interesting to me how Harry and Meghan pick and choose when they deny stories. Because last week, Meghan's team, somebody from Meghan's camp, denied something I said. And the way that they pick and choose, the roller coaster or the yo-yo of when they decide to respond and not to respond, because they'll respond about some stupid, silly, frivolous comments. When they don't react to important news, it makes you wonder whether or not that is true about them. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lack of consistency in what they react to, and they don't prioritize really important stories. There can be a very salacious story about them that they ignore, and then everybody just believes that it's true because they don't react to it. But they compare it to some of the silly small things they react to. There's my rant right off the top of the video. So thanks for hanging in there. But back to this story that broke over the weekend. According to the Daily Mail, senior aides working for King Charles and Prince Harry took the first steps towards a royal reconciliation by holding sensitive talks last week, bizarrely out in the open where they could clearly be photographed by the paparazzi. The meeting was at a private members club in central London, and the Telegraph called it an extraordinary development in relations between the two royal households. How is Harry? Harry doesn't have a royal household. He lives in Montecito and surfs and walks the dog. I would argue it was one royal household and one reality show household, based on Prince Harry's recent revelations that his father won't take his calls. That's why they're calling this extraordinary development. Private peace talks between royal aides and Harry's aides were exposed after key details like the venue, timing, and purpose were leaked to the Mail on Sunday. The breach resulted in the aides being photographed outside in the middle, of this patio for the world to see, and even mid-meeting while having drinks on the balcony. So we got them coming in, jumping out of a cab, sitting on the patio, having their beverages coming out to them. I mean, the photographer was on high alert. The photographer had every little detail they needed to know. Now, the leak has disrupted an already delicate reconciliation effort, it's being called, fueling further mistrust between both camps and threatening to unravel any progress made. Sources close to Prince Harry deny any involvement from the Sussexes, admitting that splashing details of the meeting across tabloid front pages was a disastrous start to what was supposed to be a quiet step towards peace. Buckingham Palace obviously did not want to comment on this situation. Meredith Maines, this is Prince Harry's new chief communications officer. She's based here in California, was joined at the meeting by Liam McGuire, who runs Harry and Meghan's UK-based PR operations. And Tobin Andre, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, the King's communications secretary, was there as well. This meeting, according to reports, was designed as a reset, with both camps understanding that reestablishing open lines of communication could be mutually beneficial. An insider told the Mail on Sunday there's still a long way to go, but this is the first time in years that there's been a direct line between them. It wasn't a formal sit down, just relaxed drinks. Both sides had things they needed to say. The gathering followed Prince Harry's recent interview with the BBC that stopped so many of us in our tracks. He expressed a desire to reconnect with his father and brother, but he was also blaming them for his lack of security in the UK, the fear he felt for his family, the insecurity, instability he felt. So it was the interview itself was a complete contradiction, because in one moment he's saying my father could stop all of this now. he feels like his family's to blame. And then 30 seconds later, he says, I don't want to fight with my family anymore. I don't know how much longer my father has to live, which all of us were appalled by. But he does express this desire to reconnect with his family. And according to the Daily Mail, the hope was that this low-key summit held at the Royal Overseas League near Clarence House would mark this fresh chapter. Miss Maines and Mr. Maguire arrived together by taxi on Wednesday afternoon, and Mr. Andre arrived shortly thereafter. The group was first spotted on the venue's garden terrace before they continued the conversation indoors. The source described the summit as the first step towards reconciliation between Harry and his father, and a step in the right direction, adding it was finally the right time for the two sides to talk. Now, I know that if you are watching me, you've been through all of this before, but I feel like it's important to point out, especially since allegedly people are considering forgiving and forgetting. Tensions began with the Sussexes when they stepped back as working royals and moved to the United States on that Tyler Perry freedom flight. Following heated discussions over the terms of their departure, Harry and Meghan wanted half in, half out. Meghan wanted to be able to monetize her royal title, but still, I think for Prince Harry's benefit, show up to represent the Queen when needed. And the Queen said, absolutely not. You're either all the way in or you're out. And recollections may vary, famously. Since moving to California and settling down, Harry and Meghan have personally attacked the British royal family, leveling serious accusations through televised interviews and in the book Spare, the Cut magazine interview. I think Meghan did an interview with Variety, podcast interviews. There's always a sense that they, or Meghan specifically, is hinting at something beyond what she's saying too. So you'll see like veiled swipe, like when Meghan talks about being in the trenches with Harry during her Jamie Kern-Lima interview. So it goes beyond just having to forgive Harry and Meghan for a Netflix docuseries or an Oprah Winfrey interview or Spare. The list of issues, the list of things said, the list of betrayals seem to be never ending. As a result of a lot of that, senior members of the royal family grew increasingly cautious about engaging with them, totally cut them off, worried that their private conversations could be, would be made public. And this, I think, are where this all blew up initially, was that Oprah Winfrey interview, where they claimed that a royal had expressed concerns about how dark Archie's skin might be. They say this and then they never address it again, except for Prince Harry to kind of dismiss it and say that they never said that there was a racist within the royal family. He pushes this all on the media and says that the media made this up. But then in Spare, in his book, he claims that Prince William, they get into this physical fight and he pushes him and breaks his necklace and breaks the dog bowl. I mean, this is the future king. He also accuses their father, the current king, of prioritizing his own interests and elevating Queen Camilla. And in prioritizing his own interests and making the focus on Queen Camilla and her success, Harry says he feels like there's a lot of jealousy towards Meghan and her popularity. Prince William, we know, was especially upset over how Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has been thrown into the mix, whether Harry is word for word putting her personal text messages in his book, or someone's whispering to Omid Scobie who the alleged royal racists are, and Omid includes that in the Dutch version of his book Endgame. I mean, Meghan even addresses Catherine directly when she's talking, or the Catherine drama directly throughout the Oprah Winfrey interview, which is just like, oh my gosh, why even go here? You two are so stuck in the past. But following the king's cancer diagnosis in February of last year, we did see Harry jump on a plane and fly to the UK because, according to Harry, he wanted to reconnect with his father. But then he went on Good Morning America, I think it was, within hours after that and discussed his father's health, which there's that trust issue right there yet again. Can we trust this guy? I mean, the general consensus is absolutely not. You can't trust him. But then you also, he says in the BBC interview, my dad completely stops talking to me once I really start going after the government because I'm suing for taxpayer funded security. And he says he wished his dad would have stepped in. He hoped his dad might have stepped in to help broker some compromise. But the king was reluctant to get involved, fearing that any private conversation, even to try to calm Harry down, might later be made public. That was Robert Hardman that revealed that, I believe, in his book about the king. In May, Harry lost that case, and that's when he kind of had the little BBC meltdown that we all were horrified and witnessed. There is speculation that the 2027 Invictus Games could serve as the venue for a royal reunion. There are reports that Prince Harry has invited his family, and I did see a very nice statement from somebody that works for the Invictus Games that said, absolutely, the royal family are invited, and we would be so grateful for them to be there, which I thought was excellent, an excellent way to respond to that versus saying, like, we don't comment on personal matters. I thought that was a very clever way for them to handle that, and it made them look above the fray. Senior aides are reportedly considering the invitation, viewing the games as a possible climax of all of this. Like, let this could just be done and over right here. So I want to discuss, because several of you have reached out to me, some of the theories surrounding this meeting. Some of you have reached out to me and said this was a test. This was the royal family testing Harry and Meghan, and they failed. That blurb in the exclusive in the Daily Mail was proof that Harry and Meghan could no longer be trusted. Press 1 in the chat if you agree with that theory. I thought that was an interesting theory. Again, initially, I was under the impression that Harry and Meghan, based on reading it alone immediately without really processing everything I read, yes, I initially thought this has Harry and Meghan written all over it because they are so unpopular. And I recently said to the Daily Mail, I don't think that they published it, but I recently said to the Daily Mail, I don't think that there's any way for Meghan's brand to make a comeback without a royal reconciliation. And no, I'm not championing that. I don't think that Harry and Meghan have earned that spot back into the royal family. I don't think they belong there. I don't think they're trustworthy. I think that they've done everything in their power to tear down the monarchy, and they don't deserve to be associated with this family. But from a PR and branding standpoint, I don't think that she can work her way back into any sort of real popularity without it looking like the royal family has accepted her. Do I think she has earned it? Absolutely not. So yes, I could see why Team Sussex, though they say they didn't, would leak this because they need a win. And Meghan wants to be popular again. And I think that that's one of the only ways back to popularity. Here's where I actually land on this. Well, quickly, I'll tell you some of the other theories that are going around that I don't believe in, and then I'll tell you where I stand on this. The king's health, could potentially they be saying, let's wave a white flag because life is precious, and the king's not getting any younger. Could that be the issue? Perhaps. The naughtier ones of you on the press 2 if you think that could be the reason for the meeting. The naughtier of you have suggested that perhaps Harry and Meghan are having trouble at home, and could this be some sort of Harry trying to worm his way in because he doesn't know how much longer he can handle Montecito? Press 3 in the chat if that's where you land. Here's where I think, here's what I think might have happened. And call me paranoid, but Tobin used to work for the Daily Mail. I wonder if the palace leaked this story, this meeting, this concept to generate public reaction and to see how negative public reaction would be. Because the last I checked, there were over 4,000 comments under this story on the Daily Mail, and people were livid at the idea of Harry and Meghan worming their way back in. Oh, they must be broke. were some of the comments that people left about the idea of this royal reconciliation. Why now? Oh, Harry and Meghan are broke. Harry and Meghan are desperate, but no one wanted them back. So I'm wondering if this was leaked by the palace to stir up reaction so that they can claim an effort was made at some sort of royal reconciliation, but reaction was too negative to explore further. So they can say, look, we tried. Everyone hates this idea, so we're not going to pursue. But you, Harry, have to stop saying that the royal family haven't made any effort, because we did. But the reaction was so terrible that we had to pump the brakes. Press 4 in the chat if you think that's a possibility. Otherwise, I want to hear your theories. So leave those in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And as this story continues to evolve, we're going to cover it right here on Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kinsey Schofield.